adventures with passion in your eyes. Riding the high waves, you challenge the tide. Victory on your mind, ambition on your side. Oh yeah, committed to building a better working world. Even as you grow, with each lesson learned, you're a pioneer. You pave the way, you blaze a brand new trail with confidence.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthem. Please rise for the national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthem. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and please welcome your host for the evening, Mr. Cyrus Sahukar.
Thank you all so much. And a very good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 27th edition of the EY Entrepreneur of the Year Awards India 2025. These are the world's biggest awards, celebrated in 94 countries and territories, a unique global program to recognize entrepreneurial achievement. And the theme this year is Shapers of India's Future. And that's what all our incredible entrepreneurs are today. My name is Cyrus Sahukar, and I will be your host for this evening. And before we proceed, just take in this room. Just look around at this room. Take a good, long look. Because this is perhaps the only room in India where everyone is a boss. So there is no HR to complain to. There is no manager to escalate the situation to. And there is no one above you to send a passive-aggressive email to. Tonight, the buck stops everywhere, equally and simultaneously. So welcome to the most powerful and the most ungovernable room in India. Where, if you think about it, technically, the only person in this room that anyone can actually fire is me. So guys, please be nice. It's a lot of stress being here. Hopefully laugh at the repetitive jokes and enjoy yourselves. And once again, thank you all so much for being here. And what a year 2025 has been. The world has changed faster in the last 5 years than in the previous 50. Attention spans are dramatically shorter. Screens are everywhere. And somewhere right now, a 17-year-old with a ring light and an opinion is being called an industry disruptor. And honestly, tonight, EY is not far behind because we are live. So sit up straight, smile a lot, clap a lot because we're recording you non-stop. We're live on EY India's YouTube page. So please stay tuned because we have a great show lined up for each and every one of you. But before we move forward, I would also like to take this opportunity to thank our wonderful sponsors, without whose support this event would not have been possible. Our mobility sponsor, Mahindra Electric Automobile Limited. Mahindra has redefined the premium electric SUV space, becoming the preferred choice of India's most forward-thinking leaders, with an award-winning electric portfolio and a bold vision for the future of mobility. Mahindra is shaping how India moves forward. And we are very proud to have Mahindra as our automotive partner this evening. Let's get together and give them a huge round of applause and a big thank you. A big thanks also to our celebration partner, Johnnie Walker Lux Blended Water, a brand that truly embodies the spirit of progress and celebrates people who keep walking, much like the August gathering here tonight. So right, with that, we now kick off this glittering evening, and I would like to invite to the stage the Chairman and CEO of EY India and President of CII for 2025-26, Mr. Rajiv Memani. Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks, Cyrus. I'm surprised you didn't get claps for a lot of your jokes. Hopefully it'll get better as we progress in the evening. A very good evening to everyone. It's a real privilege to welcome you to the 27th EY Entrepreneur of the Year Awards. I feel those 27 years within me. So thank you for being with us this evening. I know all of you are really busy, but I really appreciate your coming here and your presence. And through these awards, we feel very grateful and privileged to celebrate India's most outstanding entrepreneurs. And this is the only Global Entrepreneur Awards program which culminates with the World Entrepreneur of the Year Awards in Monte Carlo. And we feel proud that India has produced 4 global winners, the highest that any country in the history of the program. So a big round of applause for our entrepreneurs. And the achievement is, this is the testament to the quality and depth of entrepreneurship in India. And as we gather here today, it's worth reflecting also on the last 12 months. I think this is an area, this has been a period of big transition and very transformative for our country. I think we have seen an accelerated pace of reforms, which is enhancing India's competitiveness. We are seeing a much deeper integration with the global economy, with the various bilateral agreements that we are doing. And AI and technology revolution is going to reshape the business in a very, very profound way. Taken together, I think these things are the foundation of a very structural transformation of our economy and businesses. For entrepreneurs, this is an incredible, powerful, new frontier of growth and unprecedented opportunities that are being created. We'll shortly be joined by an inspiring leader, our chief guest, Shri Piyush Goyal, Honorable Minister of Commerce and Industry. He's just traveled to Mumbai, and all of you know what a hectic schedule that he has. And also given his current medical condition, he's just coming for these awards, he's landing, and then he'll be going there. So a big thank you and gratitude to him for coming here, but it reflects his enduring commitment to entrepreneurship and to the industry. So we are very thankful. And as all of you know, he has been spearheading bilateral dialogues and shaping key trade partnerships, reinforcing India as a trusted global partner. We were also expecting Shri Devendra Fadnavis, the Honorable Chief Minister of Maharashtra, to join us today. However, he had an urgent, unavoidable engagement that came up suddenly, because of which he had to leave Mumbai, and he will not be able to join us tonight. But friends, our 2025 finalists represent the very best of Indian entrepreneurship. They have leveraged the strength of Indian digital backbone, embraced the power of technology, and capitalized on policy initiatives such as Make in India and other investment programs. उनकी कहानियां हमें बताती हैं कि एक नया भारत उभर रहा है, जो बुलंद इरादे, disciplined execution और innovation से प्रेरित है. And to all my finalists, my heartiest congratulations, मेरी हार्दिक शुभकामनाएं. Each one of you is a winner, and the impact that you have created is truly inspiring for everyone around you. A big round of applause for all of them, please. As always, I would like to acknowledge the true custodians of these awards, our esteemed jury members. The stature and credibility of this program rest firmly on their shoulders. I'm delighted to welcome our jury chair, Mr. Sajan Jindal, along with other jury members, Dilip Bhai, Sunita Reddy, Nilesh Gupta, Harish Mariwala, Saurabh Agarwal, Ravi Lamba, Shweta Jalan, Shailendra Singh, Sanjeev Bikhchandani, and Vilayan. Many of them are with us this evening, and we thank them sincerely for their time and unwavering support, especially all of them who have made the effort of being here. Thank you very much. We deeply, deeply appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, there is one special recognition that our jury has chosen to confer this year. The awardee is a highly respected entrepreneur. He is admired equally by industry and policymakers for his foresight and sagacious advice. In recognition of his exceptional contribution to both industry and the nation, he was recently awarded the Padma Bhushan. We are especially proud that he has been an EOY winner, and it came as no surprise when he went on to win the World Entrepreneur of the Year award. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating Uday Kotak. With that, let us begin the awards ceremony. We'll now play a short video introducing our esteemed jury. Please enjoy the evening, and once again, thank you very much for being here. Thank you.
India is a country of entrepreneurs. We have really nurtured this entrepreneurship in our country, and that's why India is growing very rapidly because of this.
They play a huge role in driving economic growth and improving lives of all individuals they interact with.
And entrepreneurship, it's no longer about pure profit. While it is about return on capital employed, it is also about purpose and impact.
And in the process, they create employment, they create wealth.
If that continues, I think there is no stopping the multi-decadal opportunity that India has from a growth standpoint.
And honestly, I think the opportunity now is for the next level of shapers.
I think they'll change the complexion of the industry and of the country.
It's like a tidal wave that they're riding. There's disruption from everywhere.
EY has been doing this award for entrepreneurs, and it's really helped the country a lot.
This award is very special because it's based on real data and it delivers the truth.
And the recognition they get after this reward adds a lot of value to the entrepreneurs.
And the fact that it's a global award offers the entrepreneurs in India that opportunity to understand what is going on a world scale.
And I think anything that you can create such an aura around definitely further supports and fosters entrepreneurship in India.
I felt that this was a very elaborate and very deep studied sort of award, and it was run very professionally in a very unbiased manner.
Jury was focused on not just looking at success, but have these guys created significance as well. It was a great conversation.
So some of the categories were debated. During the process, some new names also came up.
And what really stood out for me in the selection process was the level of diversity.
All of them actually built phenomenal, successful, resilient businesses.
You have to go on innovating, you have to go on disrupting.
So please enjoy this award. It's very, very prestigious.
Round of applause, please. Let's make some noise for this incredible work. And thank you so much, Mr. Memani. It's a pleasure to hear you speak as always. Ladies and gentlemen, we now have a special treat in store for all of you. An exclusive panel discussion featuring as panelists, icons of Indian industry. Please welcome to this glorious stage, Chairman, JSW Group, winner of EOY India 2022 and Jury Chair for EOY India 2025, Mr. Sajjan Jindal. Joining him on stage, please also welcome CEO of Meesho and EOY 2021 Startup Category winner, Vidit Atre. And finally, founder and non-executive director, Kotak Mahindra Bank, and winner of EOY India 2013, World EOY winner 2014, Mr. Uday Kotak. Thank you all so much for so graciously being here on stage. And to moderate this discussion, we have the very sharp, the very incisive Managing Editor, CNBC TV 18, Ms. Shireen Bhan. Over to you, Shireen.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Rajiv Memani, I'm going to protest. I think I've done about 20 out of 27 of these awards. So I think I deserve an award myself, but it's great to be here, ladies and gentlemen. It's wonderful to be back here at the EY Entrepreneur of the Year Awards. And before I get started, now that you are up on stage, Mr. Kotak, ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for the winner, the special winner this evening, Mr. Kotak. What an absolute honor it is to have you here with us. Mr. Jindal, always a pleasure, and with it, wonderful to see you here this evening. I have a confession to make. As I was flying into Delhi, I had the good fortune of chatting with Harsh Mariwala. He's right there on that front table, and he said, boring mat karna, ask them fun questions. So with that pressure on, Mr. Kotak, have you watched the Melania movie? Have you watched the Melania movie?
Shireen, since you have watched it, can you tell us the summary?
I actually haven't, but no. On to serious things, Mr. Kotak, and let's start with what everybody's been talking about and what has captured headlines and imagination the past few weeks, and that is AI. And I want to start by understanding from you what you make of this AI trade or the AI reverse trade that's impacting the Indian stock markets. Do you believe it's overdone? Do you believe the markets have overplayed the fears at this point in time? Or do you believe the worst is yet to come?
I think AI is for real. We can debate on the time and the speed of change and disruption. And that's where the debate is. But I want to turn this subject a little further. Is we talk about AI. It will change. Artificial intelligence will change how we live. But we're going to come to a stage where what is going to be even more important is what I call as wisdom. There is, as so far, no concept of AW, which is artificial wisdom. Therefore, human beings finally will have a role because wisdom will remain HW even as AI takes more and more of our lives.
I don't know if you've seen what Sam Altman had to say to students at IIT. He said, don't listen to old people. Don't listen to old people.
But you know,
that is the message that Sam Altman is sending out.
I was talking to some youngsters and they said Sam Altman looks a little old.
But, you know, and I agree with you, by the way, that, that wisdom is what we should bank on, and that will perhaps be the collective moat for each one of us. But how do you look at how this is going to play out for India, sir? Because, you know, this business of the fact that we've now got chat bots that are going to disrupt Indian IT services, we've seen the massive erosion that these companies have suffered since the 6th of February, almost 3 lakh crore rupees in market cap wiped out. Do you believe that it's going to get worse before it gets better?
So if you look at all the research which is coming out, whether it's Citrine research,
correct,
as well as what came out from an Indian serial entrepreneur from Singapore called Ajay Sharma, essentially what they are saying is in the software services sector, in that context, is one is AI is on the rising curve. So it's in the early stage of what is known as Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh cycle. So it is really in the Brahma space and therefore has a significant road to go ahead. And then some of these articles say that the SaaS companies, which is your Adobe's and Salesforce and others, they are right now in the Vishnu phase, therefore they still have some more time. But the software application companies is where probably they may have moved into the Mahesh phase. This is what they say. Now the speed at which it happens, how much it happens, but it's clear that you have to move away from low-end jobs. And frankly, biggest pressure will be on things like BPOs, because they will be completely automated out or replaced by chatbots or whatever else it is. Therefore, pressure is real, and India has a very large number of jobs linked to software services, probably more at the lower end.
I'll come back to you in a second on that issue, but Mr. Jindal, you know, in many ways, are you relieved that you're old economy and not in the SaaS business today, sir, and you don't have to deal with some of the issues that Mr. Kotak just spoke of?
No, I'm actually very fortunate that I'm in the brick and mortar industry, and I have nothing to do with AI, and nothing to do, as in my companies, yes, we use AI, and we will increasingly use it, but there is no disruption in my business, so that's a fortune.
No disruption just yet. We don't know what's going to happen. But on the factory floor, what are you seeing? I mean, again, I go back to what we're hearing from tech leaders at this point in time, saying that robots are going to take over, humanoids are going to take over, you're going to have factories without people. Do you believe that we're at a point, at least as far as Indian factories are concerned, of even looking at that possibility?
No, for that is, I'm very clear that what AI or these new dark factories and stuff like that, robots in the factories, this is only going to improve the productivity of the business. And this will only create more economic value in the country, in the world, and the world, which is today at whatever, $110 trillion, probably would become $200 trillion. Because of, so what the computers did in the 80s, probably the AI will do now to take it to the next level.
What will happen to the cost of manufacturing? When we talk about this ushering in an era or an age of abundance, the question then is what happens to the cost of manufacturing, this big productivity uplift that people are talking about? What will that eventually translate to as far as the consumer is concerned? Do you expect a massive reduction in the cost of manufacturing itself?
No, so if the productivity improves, if there is more value add, then automatically the cost will come down. So it is going to be tremendously beneficial for the consumers, for sure. There's absolutely no question about it.
Okay, I'll come back to you in just a second, but with it, let's understand from you, you know, how are you looking at this AI wave? How are you looking at the AI disruption? How AI ready is Meesho? How AI ready are you likely to be in the next 12 to 18 months?
Yeah. I think the stage at which we are in, and I'm also there in terms of the mindset, is we are right now very excited about the new possibilities with AI, right? So for example, I'll give you some context, and I was sharing some of those stories outside. Our mission is how do we really democratize internet commerce for everyone, right? Like consumers, businesses. And 10 years ago, when we started this company, we used to see that there was a big digital divide that is there in offline and online. Like when I go offline, I want to buy a shirt. I don't need to basically read something, know English, understand like what is ratings and reviews. I go and speak to a shopkeeper, say, hey, I want a shirt in this particular range. That person shows you certain options. You make a transaction, you go away. In the online world, you are somehow supposed to know that how should you basically like sign up on an app? How should you search? How should you figure out what does the cart button mean, add to cart mean? How should you figure out like ratings, reviews, so many things.
Yeah.
And we somehow believe like that will now go away. Like we recently launched a voice agent for a customer who can come and speak in their own native language. Never ever they have to read on the app, anything. They just speak to the agent, see photographs, make the transaction happen, right? So that digital divide that we saw 10 years ago basically goes away. So I feel like the opportunities of like the role that AI will play in democratization of access to internet services, software, so many things is like massive. Everyone who's been left behind so far, they will find it much easier to catch up because you will have these agentic layers like augmenting some of what the gaps are, helping people move forward. So I would say like the stage at which we are in and where we're investing in, we're very, very excited about the potential opportunities that come with AI, especially in a country like India and especially around voice. Like I believe like a lot can be done.
You know, speaking of possibilities, you're a newly listed entity in the Indian stock markets as well. So your shareholders would like to know, will AI solve for profitability?
I think it will. Like I think it will. And like to me, like what will AI do at the end of the day? AI is going to expand the market size in India, right? Like AI will expand the market size, like every single technology cycle, the markets of what we thought was possible in India suddenly becomes much, much larger. Like 10, 15, 20 years ago, could you basically build retail for 250 million customers transacting online or transacting like annually? The answer was no, but that market finally happened because of the internet technology and mobile. Now I believe this opportunity will be much, much larger because of AI. So I feel as such, as the market gets larger, profit pools will get larger, and I think it's for everyone. And I think that's what we're working towards. Like we have seen, for example, we have upgraded most of our models, including in advertising, in the last 1 year to the transformer architecture. And we have seen like so many gains because you get much better in targeting, you deliver much better returns on ad spend to our sellers, they end up spending more on the platform. So that loop starts to happen, which basically means the profit pool expands. So I believe there's a lot that will happen because of AI in monetization, in profitability, and generally making like online profit pools much bigger than what you saw in the last 10 years.
Okay, well, that's good to hear, and let's see whether that in fact pans out, as you point out. But Mr. Kotak, I want to wrap up the AI story before I move to the next issue by putting this in the context of what you said to me. You said that if you could start over, you would want to be a digital evangelist. And I want to link this to another comment that you made, that the Goldilocks era...
All these intermediation costs make the cost of intermediation of Indian banking extremely high. And in this changing world, we have to move at much lower intermediation costs than what we have seen. And the question which I have, and I'm seeing Seema and Piyush Goyal here, they've just entered, so welcome to them, but I'm just wanting to make sure that we collectively, and that is Indian business and Indian policy together, have to take the challenge more than anything else, that this time we will not allow certain companies and countries like history to colonize the world. We must make sure India is able to avoid colonization because of dominance coming through huge investments made by, frankly, two superpowers, which is US and China. And India should not be left behind in that game and should never face the risk of colonization. That's very, very important.
What is the prescription then to avert that, to avoid that?
I think it is something we have to... my friend is here and there are many other businessmen here. Why are we in business not putting serious money into technology, innovation, research? We should be 10% of the budgets, and India has financialized too early. We are too much focused at quarter se quarter tak. put out money with a 5, 7, 10-year vision and have the ability to withstand the shocks. And Indian business is not, partly because of stock markets and analysts who say your quarterly earnings are off by 5 basis points, I'm going to punish you 10 percentage points. And how do you make I believe India is financialized too early for the challenges which we face today.
Okay, financialized too early. I'm going to throw the gauntlet your way, Mr. Jindal. As Mr. Kotak pointed out, we need to invest far more on R&D. This has been something that we've spoken of ad nauseum. Why aren't we? And what will it take for us to get there?
No, so first point is what Uday is saying, that we as Indian industry, we are not spending enough money on R&D. That's very clear. I told you just outside the same point, that we, because we are living quarter se quarter tak, that point is also correct.
Is that really the fear holding you back?
Sorry?
Is that really the fear that's holding everybody back?
Not really, not quarter se quarter tak, but we are not making enough money to invest in R&D. The industry, Indian, I mean, I'm talking generally for most of the industry, we are not making enough money. And our shareholders, I mean, we certainly want shareholders to be happy. So we are, so the environment is such that we are, if we start to make money, then you know, Piyush will say that you're making too much money. So therefore, there is, you know, there is always this dichotomy that we have. But R&D we have to spend. The industry will have to spend on R&D if we have to. As Uday said, stave off the colonization on us. We, as an industry, we have to grow, we have to... Few industries are investing money in R&D, but generally we are not investing enough.
Let me also welcome the Honorable Commerce Minister, Mr. Piyush Goyal, who joins us here. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us here. You'll hear, of course, hear from him very shortly. But I want to come back to the point on R&D and technology, and let me get you to comment on that. The approach to China, and you've changed your approach to China as well, Mr. Jindal. You're now partnering with Chinese companies to try and bring technology to India to power your electric mobility ambitions. So how should we deal with China at this point in time? Collaborators, competitors, you know, what should the approach be?
So there are two ways. One is that we have to learn from China, because you know, my belief is that China is a country which is as large as India, given the population very similar to India. If we try to learn from Japan or try to learn from Germany, which are relatively smaller countries, we will not be able to really do what we need to do as an economy. We need to learn the way China has expanded. If you look at their bullet train program, I mean, we are for the last 10, 12 years, we are building the bullet train, which is right in front of my office. I think we are still 4 or 5 years away from that first time that bullet train will move. And it happens to be Prime Minister's pet program, the bullet train, right? So it's a very high-profile program, but still we can't execute that program. And you go to China, you see like thousands and thousands of kilometers of bullet train running across cities. So we have to learn from a country like China, which is building the economy at a fraction of the cost of let's say, us. Because we are taking technology from, you know, smaller countries and more expensive countries. We have to learn from China. Now, how can we collaborate with China? That's a question which is not for me to decide. It's the government has to decide that. But if we have to expand and take our economy to a different level, we have to build bridges with China. We have to take our relationship with China to a different level.
When are we going to see your first car hit the Indian roads, sir?
So MG is already on road.
No, your car.
JSW Motors, hopefully before Diwali.
Before Diwali, we'll actually see a JSW car on the Indian roads. But with it, you know, I want to understand from you, and this is again an issue that the startup ecosystem has demonstrated, speed and innovation. How do you marry the two? And more importantly, you know, in an AI era where both are going to be critical, what is the mantra for success there that you've been able to demonstrate within Misho?
I think it's a lot of what we were just discussing. It's going to be investing in R&D, investing in technology.
How much are you investing in R&D?
Like, by the way, like 70% of our headcount is just tech product design, which is what the definition of R&D. So entire company is R&D. We don't have like non-R&D headcount as much. So what we do essentially is like, we are very, very happy. Like you have a new technology, you have so many possibilities that I was just talking about. So the speed and innovation always go together. You can't innovate being slow because someone else takes over. So this is the time when all of us who have the right talent, which we have invested in. So I would tell you, like, even before AI became what it is, even 4 years ago, we had one of the largest AI teams in the country. We today have our own in-house trained, like 200 models they will be like small language models. Not a lot of them are large language because you have certain latency when people are using your product.
Yeah.
But we have trained all of them in-house. So we have that talent to basically do it, and we'll keep investing behind it. But you're right, like speed and innovation is very, very important. A lot of things are changing every single day. Like we have to keep refreshing our roadmap every quarter. We think technology is here, let's build it. And you realize like everything has changed.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. I think we have to be very agile. We can't be very rigid. And I think that's what's happening. So I would say like big place where R&D will get solved will be the startup ecosystem. I think if it's just about like the incumbents of the traditional companies, will they just invest? I don't think the answer is that. I think
So
startup ecosystem.
you're going to be the engines of innovation.
Absolutely. I think in every country, that's what you see. Like innovation comes from the startup ecosystem. So I think it's going to be a lot more about collaborating together, resourcing, like investment could come from other places, but innovation will definitely happen within startups. So I think we have to figure out these models of working together so we get to some of these outcomes.
You know, Mr. Kotak, the one thing that is changing every day is technology. The other thing that's changing practically every hour are tariffs. And at this point in time, we don't know when the executive order for 15% is going to come in, but that is what President Trump has said he intends to do. There are, of course, a whole bunch of other aspects as well. But if I were to ask you to map out for us what you believe are the challenges that we need to cope with from a global perspective, and what are the challenges or the trends that you're going to be watching out for? There's a lot of talk around de-dollarization. There's a lot of talk around central banks hoarding gold. China, the Chinese central bank at a record high as far as gold holdings and gold reserves are concerned. What does that tell you? What do those data points tell you, if I were to ask you?
From whatever I know and about the way US policy seems to be thinking on currency, they are quite happy with a weaker dollar. Okay? So this, in fact, that puts more pressure around the world because it makes domestic exports more competitive. As far as Trump tariffs are concerned, we have the policymaker here. So rather than me giving a view on that, I'm sure if he's ready to give a view, he can give a view on that. That is Trump tariffs. But as you rightly said, it changes by the hour. So I think we have to wait how it goes. But if there's one thing I would give credit to Mr. Trump, and this is for India's benefit, it has finally pushed every country to focus on its own competitiveness. Okay? And therefore, what was considered as barriers in terms of getting more competitive, okay, while protecting industry in the short run, I think we are beginning to do. Therefore, whether it's tariffs on automobiles or some of these other areas, which are relatively low-hanging fruits because I think Indian industry has become more competitive. But I would urge Indian industry not to build a business model around protectionism. Let's be out there and compete, okay? Because if we don't be competitive enough, I don't think the world is a friendly place any longer. Each country is going to be focused on what's right for that country. And the world is getting to be more tribal. I'm protecting my tribe as a nation. That's what the US is saying. And every other country in the world is saying. Therefore, we have to live on ourselves. And competitiveness for Indian business is key. And I feel we need to do a lot more in getting more competitive.
Mr. Jindal, I want to pick up on what Mr. Kotak...
And just 1 minute, Sajjan. $116 billion imports from China, even after protection for steel.
Yeah. Even after protection for steel, that's absolutely right. But just to pick up on what Mr. Kotak said there on the world adopting this tribal mindset and everybody wanting to do their best for themselves. Now, what does that do to the model that we've come to understand and accept of globalization? Make in India for the world. Will there be limits? Will there be challenges to that model? Instead of global, are we now going to have to do local for local? You're lucky. You have a plant in Ohio in the US. And so Section 232 doesn't necessarily hurt you or impact you as much as it does other steel makers, Mr. Jindal. But do you think that business models are now going to have to be reset given this tribal mentality that Mr. Kotak spoke of?
Yeah, no, I think what the US has done, or Mr. Trump has done over the last, actually, he did it in his first term as well. And what it has done is that he's insisting that you have to invest in the US for the US market. Even if it is inefficient, it doesn't matter. So what he's doing is that US economy for many products is pretty inefficient. And, for example, steel, if we produce steel in India, it is half the cost of what we make in the US. And same management, same system we adopt, same facilities we have, but it's half the cost in India. So we are obviously much more efficient, and eventually it will play out. The US economy will become, or European economy, because they are also going in for huge amount of protectionism, they will become inefficient, and the customer, their customer will pay for that higher cost. So I don't think United States can ever export their automobile to any other parts of the world, whereas Japan States can ever export their automobile to any other parts of the world, whereas Japan can do, India is doing, Japan is doing, and will continue to do. So, but the world is going to, as Uday said, they are all going to become a tribe, and they will each one will protect each other's markets. So then we are actually forgetting the GATT or WTO, and we have to then we should also then protect our own country, because we are today I have this discussion with Piyush all the time that we should be also protecting our and to give the credit to this government. They have actually done that. They have put safeguard duties, and they are protecting the industries here, because otherwise we will see a lot of dumping in India, whereas we will not be able to export because our markets are closing down all over the world.
But is Indian industry going to have to look outside much more and do it organically and do it inorganically as well?
What's that?
Acquisitions to look at global markets.
Yeah, so that's what we are doing. We have done that, but it's not easy to for us to go and operate in a very difficult environment where environmental liabilities are old plants, environmental liabilities are difficult. So we are better off expanding in our own country.
Better off expanding in our country. You don't have to worry about Donald Trump, do you, with it? You're lucky that way.
Not directly for sure. But yeah, by the way, like everything is connected. Like we are connected to the consumption story of the country.
Yeah.
And I hope like the growth engine that we have keeps moving, which has been great for us for the last 20 years, and which is why more and more people are coming in. Our goal is to basically take it to everyone, like build the infrastructure so more people become part of the consumption story.
Well, speaking of the consumption story, Mr. Kotak, the last time we spoke, you said that there is a need for a national reset. There is need for every Indian to get out of the cruise mode and out of the comfort zone. Where do you believe we are on that front, and where do you believe we need to be to ensure that we get the job done?
I think we have moved. I frankly feel we have moved with, say, the big move was through the GST rates rationalization, which was very much required. And that's happened since the last meet. But I think so far the business at large has had a wonderful time in the post-COVID era. There is a sense of confidence, which is good, but there's also a sense of comfort. And I would urge each of Indian businesses to genuinely keep in mind that this comfort may not remain forever. And please bring in some sense of paranoia. Okay?
What are you paranoid about today?
No, I think AI has a risk of disruption. Okay? And as we discussed, if software services industry does get affected, at some point of time, it's a very large part of India's consumption story, okay? And it's also very large part of India's middle class and the thriving cities of India, which you have said, starting from Gurgaon to Bangalore to Hyderabad or Pune, they are all around this story. And if jobs are going to move or change, we must have a plan, because the ripple effect of that can be on overall demand.
Yeah. Mr. Jindal, what are you paranoid about today?
My nature is that I don't get paranoid. So I'm a very chilled out guy, and I don't...
Sajan makes others paranoid.
No. So, but one point about R&D, I'm coming back to that point because I missed that point. See, the government of India, because there are so many industrialists sitting here, and it's a worthwhile point to make, that there are so many, that government of India has come out with this, the R&D setup called Anusandhan, where they are supporting, if industry wants to do R&D, then they will invest in the equity of that project, and then they will get the return, and then so on, they will support the R&D. I think this is a fantastic initiative that government of India has taken. And they've already approved 1 lakh crore budget in the budget. And so this is a phenomenal thing. And China does this in a multi-first mode. You know, they are doing it in a very big way. But this is something which I thought was very important.
No, it is very important. The RDIF fund, as you point out, is a significant step that the government has taken forward in now being operationalized. We're talking about paranoia. Let me end by asking you, because I don't want to keep people from their dinner and, of course, the conversation with the Honorable Commerce Minister. Let me end by asking each one of you, and I'll start by asking you, Mr. Kotak. You know, entrepreneurship is about rolling with the punches. It's about going with the flow. It's about dealing with the boom and bust cycles. What has been your mantra for success? What has been your mantra to keep finding your center through all of the volatile times? What is it that you would like to leave here with all other entrepreneurs?
I think spirit of adventure. Every stage as you grow, keep that spirit of adventure. And I believe entrepreneurship is about believing that trees touch the skies. Therefore, have a spirit of adventure. Believe that the trees will touch the skies, and India will, in the next 10 to 20 years, aspire to be in the top 2 nations. Being in the top 3 should not be good enough for India. Trees must touch the skies. And that is not easy. We know that. Okay?
Trees must touch the sky and must also have strong roots, and I think that is going to have to be crucial to achieve the ambition that you spoke to us about. Mr. Jindal, the same question to you. What is it that you would leave with entrepreneurs here? You've seen many cycles, sir. You've gone through volatility. You've gone through pain. What would your advice be?
I think the key thing is stay focused. Don't get perturbed, because cycles will come and go. There is always the positive side. There will be always some difficult days. So stay focused and stay positive. You will be successful.
Stay focused, even as he diversifies into a whole host of other businesses. But stay focused is the mantra there, coming in from Sajan Jindal. Vidit, what is the compass, the moral compass that guides you through all the volatility that you've seen in your very short journey as a company so far?
Yeah, so the last 11 years, we have had our share of all the ups and downs, and like the compass I have is like just stay focused on the problem, not so much on the solution, because the solution set changes every few years. Like how we solve the problems that we solved like 10 years ago were very different. How we will solve it now is very different. So never get too attached to the solution. I believe AI is going to change how we solve every single thing that we have done. Like marketplaces, AI native marketplaces would look very different. The way they solve the problem for Bharat will look very different. So just stay focused on the mission statement, the problem that we are solving. As long as we do that, I think things will be fine. That's what we have seen so far.
Well, that, in fact, is the perfect segue to thank Uday Kotak, Sajan Jindal, and Vidit Atre. As we talk about shaping India's future and shapers who will shape India's futures, to pick up on what Vidit said, we need to look for people, we need to identify entrepreneurs who focus on the real problems, on the real challenges, and hopefully deliver India's solutions, not just for India, but for the world. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for Uday Kotak, Sanjay Jiddal, and Vidit Atre.
Such a great conversation. Thank you all so much for this. What a wonderful chat. And now let me introduce you all to our finalists themselves. Men and women entrepreneurs who have excelled through the year 2025, done the extraordinary for their organizations and the country. Let's take a look now at the entrepreneurial journeys of these exceptional men and women. Ladies and gentlemen, the stories of our 2025 finalists in film. Take a look.
After a master's degree in engineering from the Georgia Institute of Technology, Atlanta, and a stint at a leading global consulting firm, Abhishek Lodha returned to India to reimagine his family's real estate business.
My dream and vision was shaped by what I'd spent a lot of time in the US seeing, fantastic looking buildings. So we sort of got this piece called Apollo Mills near Chinchpokli station. Nobody was really thinking that that was a place that something meaningful could happen. We sort of put in a bid for 180 crores. We probably had 18 crores in our bank account and launched that project in 2006. So that's really the journey of Lodha Bellissimo, and that really started pushing Lodha into a different dimension.
Then came the global financial crisis.
The global financial crisis, that really was our first hard lesson about how organizations have to prepare. We then sort of went on to a significant amount of expansion. 2011 we launched then World One. We kept building the organization. We really ended up with significant leverage, and we do think that we played some role in making sure that Indians have very high aspirations from the places that they live and work in.
But even as Abhishek Lodha steered the group onto a strong growth path, he had to contend with some serious headwinds.
India went through a non-banking financial NBFC crisis. We had to, on a single day, pay $325 million to pay off a bond, or we would have been bankrupt. We paid off, and that evening, Maharashtra went into lockdown. Since then, we listed in 2021, was again the day that the Delta wave of COVID reinitiated lockdown. One more day, and the IPO wouldn't have closed.
हर परिस्थिति से बाहर निकला, हर परिस्थिति से निकल कर उसने आज जो है जहां है, तो उसके लिए मैं खुद तालियां बजाती हूं.
Today, with a pre-sales value of approximately 17,630 crore rupees in FY25 and 95 million square feet in the pipeline, Abhishek Lodha is building for India's rise to a better tomorrow.
Second half of the Viksit Bharat duration, we hope we'll play a big role in that.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Abhishek Lodha. After working at Biocon for 21 years, Ajay Bharadwaj decided to start his journey as an entrepreneur.
It was time to move on. Me and a few colleagues, we started Anthem. The business that we started was contract research and development and manufacturing organization, CRDMO. It was really nascent at that time, but we were not going to be a cookie cutter job of our former company. And a lot of my former colleagues, they took a cut in salary to come and join. And that to us was a great validation that, I could do it.
But Ajay Bharadwaj's path was fraught with challenges.
2008, there was a global financial crisis. People are like, oh, I can't give you work now because my money is dried up. So we believed that a lot of innovation was happening in the small startup biotechs. We went to service the startups. So we got really difficult projects that have probably failed elsewhere. We were able to crack them. And that established our credibility. It was a very hard time. We still managed to grow. And the startups, many of them became successful, and invariably they get acquired by Big Pharma. So that's how we streamed into Big Pharma, and we did our own products as well. We didn't want to be your typical generics Indian pharma story, and we were in a good place.
The next inflection point came with manufacturing.
When we went into Big Pharma, it expands your horizon in manufacturing. We set up our facilities to support the molecule from the first milligram to tens and 50 tons or even more if required. We can do everything in drug discovery short of human clinical trials. Now we have 3 manufacturing sites, and we have had an unbroken record of profits since the first year of operation.
All of it comes from his vision. The ability to invest in cutting-edge, high technology, risk-taking has really set him apart from the average entrepreneur.
Today, with a revenue of 1,850 crore rupees in FY25 and over 80% of their sales coming from international markets, Ajay Bharadwaj feels Anthem Biosciences is poised for big leaps ahead.
CDMO or CRDMO will be a very big theme. Our next capacities will be greater than everything put together till now.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ajay Bharadwaj. After graduating from IIT, Dipinder Goyal was working at a consulting firm when he hit upon an interesting idea.
When I was working after getting out of college, my colleagues, they used to actually line up in front of a stack of menu cards, and they used to look those menu cards up and order food from the phone. So all I thought was, can I just scan these menu cards and put them online? And I actually collected as many menus as I could on my bike, scanned them, put them online. That was the start of Zomato.
Soon, Dipinder Goyal grew Zomato into a household name.
For about 7 years with just this product, expanded into 23 countries, got into food ordering as well. COVID was good for us. There was a lot of drop in traffic, and for about 3 months we lost everything. But demand actually came up after that, and in about a year and a half after that, we could actually IPO as well.
But the real growth story was only just beginning.
We also invested in Grofers, which was grocery online. While actually working with Grofers, we're like, how can we make this service better, stickier? And we discovered that if you get anything under 10 minutes, it actually feels like magic. So we started a store right next to us. We were using Blinkit like more than thrice a day. And that's when we thought, okay, this is a useful service. We acquired Grofers, turned it into Blinkit. So Eternal has 4 big businesses. Zomato is one of them. Blinkit is the other. Hyperpure is we power the restaurant's back-end infra with Hyperpure. And District is a going out app.
He's driven by creativity. He will take the hard calls, he will achieve it in the most beautiful way.
Today, Dipinder Goyal, the founder who built Eternal, is channeling that same entrepreneurial spirit into bold new ideas.
I'm working on this startup called LAT, short to medium haul plane, super low cost, so that it actually replaces buses for us. Temple is another startup. They wearable which we put here on the temple, and it measures blood flow to the brain. People haven't even attempted to do those kind of things here.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Dipinder Goyal. Spending his formative years in small towns in Bihar and UP, Gopal Vittal worked in HUL for 20 years before moving to Airtel.
My first conversation with Sunil, and I think he said, make this a more humble culture, and some of the rituals that we put in place at the time. For example, in our stores, every morning, the 6 or 7 store staff get together and talk about the great stories of yesterday, the lousy stories of yesterday. So I think we had got to that stage. This culture is agile. Even though we're a very large company, I think we behave like a very small company.
Then he was faced with one of the biggest challenges of his career.
2016 was the launch of Reliance. Several companies went bankrupt. We were in the red in terms of cash. But I would say the tone that we had was an optimistic tone. We bought Videocon spectrum, we bought Tata Communications spectrum, Telenor. 10 players effectively became 3 players. So it was brutal. And so at one stage, we said what we want to do instead is actually win with the best quality customers and removing what we thought were poorer quality customers. And we set only two targets. One is get your market share and set a targets on cost. In hindsight, I would say actually we have to thank Reliance for having made us a sharper company.
Another challenge for Gopal Vittal was to declare a war on waste and put digital at the heart of the business.
The war on waste is a mantra for us inside the company. So we have got 330,000 tower sites. We track the profitability of every single site to identify what were the opportunities there to actually strip the waste out. And we pulled out close to 2,500 crores that year. And today, I am privileged to be on the advisory board of Deutsche Telekom and T-Mobile. I sit on the board of British Telecom. On the tech side, we are years ahead.
He is without a doubt cut above the rest. A single most important factor in Airtel being where it is today.
Today, with a revenue of 200,000 crore rupees and serving over 450 million customers across the world, Gopal Vittal has a unique view of the future.
So we've always believed that we are in an 800-meter dash where, you can see one bend around the corner, but you may not be able to see many bends around the corner. We have a broad sense of where we're going, and our strategy, which we call our GPS, is really very focused around 5 or 6 pillars, and that hasn't changed for many, many years. But we keep looking at new information that's coming to us from within the ecosystem to make changes in how we navigate this world.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Gopal Vittal. Born in a village in Punjab, Jasmeer Singh started out in his father's sheet metal business.
My father used to do business in sheet metal fabrication for customers in Mohali. Second day of joining, I said, there's no demand in this part of the geography. As a Punjabi father, he was looking at me, kal aaya hai aur aaj mere ko bata raha hai, but he said, why don't you take it up? So we started manufacturing sheet metal cabinets, window air conditioners. Then we got an opportunity in 2003, assembling of air conditioners. So we put up a facility in Uttarakhand, in Dehradun, and that was where the turning point started.
Soon, Jasmeer Singh realized that it was time to go beyond mere assembly.
As an engineer, I don't really like putting just screws together. So we started backward integrating into different components, what goes into air conditioner. Then it was a awakening call. We also need to change the strategy. We thought that why don't we start setting up component plants near to their facilities, because everybody needs just-in-time supplies, good quality products. That clicked very well.
Strategic diversification led to further growth.
2017, there was a technological shift of fixed-speed air conditioners to inverter air conditioners. So it was very important for us to get into that space. And we did not know E of the electronics. I visited various customers. Some of them said, we will not be able to support. We went to another customer. He said, there are only 2 companies in the world doing it. So we found a company in Noida, which was run by a Korean. That was Ilgin Electronics, and we acquired that company 70% stake. I used to say my customers, now we know E of electronics, so we entered into hearable wearables, telecom, we added automobile space, electronics for smart metering companies, and then the air conditioning for metro space, railway space, and we started supplying to everybody.
He is a man who wants to serve the nation in terms of making a big company, employing as many people as possible, contributing to the growth of the nation.
Today, with a revenue of 10,000 crore rupees, 33 facilities in India and 1 in Israel, Jasmeer Singh feels his story has just begun.
We want to be very focused on the consumption theme of India, and we are very, very passionate about it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jasmeer Singh. Born into a Marwadi business family, Karan Bhagat started his first business while he was still in college.
I had to start out as a sub-travel agent. It required a lot of hustle, but obviously it wasn't going to scale quickly enough. And that's what got me into IIM Bangalore. And the only 2 places where I could land up a job then was ICICI Credit Operations and Kotak Securities. That's how Delhi happened. Delhi was a phenomenal experience. Me together with a couple of colleagues going around noting down addresses of large houses in Delhi, because that was the only way to find large clients. So kind of got a voice in the firm quickly enough.
Inevitably, Karan Bhagat started out on his own.
my Marwari blood of entrepreneurship kind of started coming back. So my colleague Yatin at that point of time, I bumped into Nirmal from IFL, and Nirmal had just about got the equity brokerage business to move from CLSA to IFL. I'm very keen to start a fee business. So in 2008, we started out the firm as professional entrepreneurs. The firm was called IFL Wealth. 2013 was a pivotal moment for us. Piramal sold his business to Abbott. The corporate ended up with a large amount of liquidity. We got selected as their sole advisors. So we said, let's try and reach every client who's going to have a liquidity event even before the event happens. And our market share at that point of time grew phenomenally.
Then he made a bold move.
And I happened to go for a safari in Africa with a lot of YPO members. I was just discussing with them that we're going to list in 6 months. Everybody kept asking the question, what's your ARR revenue? Honestly, it was a bit of a foreign concept to us. So just before listing, we decided to move our business from a product business to a service business. That decision helped us shape our journey in a big way. We consequently decided to rename the business in 2021 as 361 Wealth and Asset Management.
It's the ability to build, it's the ability to solve a problem, it's the ability to give back and create something which is larger than himself is what drives him.
Today, with a presence in more than 30 cities and 5 countries, and an AUM of 711,000 crore rupees, Karan Bhagat feels bullish about 361's future.
If we manage our business well, we can continue to grow profits in the late teens. Entrepreneurship in India doesn't stop. And hopefully we can, in our own way, contribute to that.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Karan Bhagat. While working together in the same firm, Uttam Digga and Pranav Goyal spotted an interesting opportunity.
One of the companies which we're extremely fascinated in even today is Uber. We were on a constant lookout that can we get an industry where we can see similar characteristics.
At that point in time, we were traveling to office and Uttam saw that, hey, I see a lot of these tempos. Why don't we understand what the problem statement is? The biggest pain point for these drivers was very poor asset utilization.
On customer side, you would have SMEs, which are extremely fragmented and disjointed.
We realized it's a matchmaking problem and we can create a tech solution which solves for that.
We started Gota.
But the early days for Uttam Digga and Pranav Goyal were not easy.
I manned the call center for the first 15 days. Uttam was getting drivers and customers on board.
In one of our field visits, there was this individual who started crying. He was saying that nobody ever have spoken to me about my problems. In a 9-hour day, the guy is only productively utilized for 2.5 hours. So that's how less they are utilized.
The early days were all about getting demand and supply.
Every 2 hours, I used to call Pranav that did we get our first order.
Our first order came after 7-8 days of starting Porter.
So we used to run our business on SIM-based tracking and Google Sheets.
With time, however, Porter started gaining momentum.
Our app got live after 9 months into our journey. A lot of our driver partners didn't have a smartphone. So we have to give them a smartphone as a part of our onboarding kit.
We invested a lot of time in training so that it was a lot easier for these people to understand and operate. So we were able to improve asset utilization from 30% to 60%, offer a much lower cost to our customers to the tune of 20%. We used to celebrate 10 orders a day. Now we celebrate orders when we hit lakhs.
Their complementary skill set helps the organization to keep compounding at the pace that we have been able to compound.
Today, with a revenue of 4,306 crore rupees and a presence in more than 41 cities across 2 countries, Uttam Digga and Pranav Goyal are steering Porter into an even brighter future.
We want to be synonymous to goods movement.
So with each transaction, we carry dreams for either our customer or our driver partner.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Uttam Digga and Mr. Pranav Goyal. Born into a pioneering business family, Sunil Vachani made a tough decision at the start of his career.
My late father started the iconic brand Western. I told my late father that I would rather start my own business, and that was for manufacturing cordless telephones. This venture failed miserably, and then that time in India, not many people believed that they should be outsourcing manufacturing, which was a core activity to any company. But I could see the change happening globally, and I felt that India could really turn into a manufacturing powerhouse. So that's how Dixon was born.
While the early years were tough, Sunil Vachani soon got a big break.
The biggest challenge was, of course, to convince people that, India can be a manufacturing hub for the world. And we were lucky that there was a company, Lucky Gold Star. They were looking at contract manufacturer to manufacture a few thousand CRT televisions, and we won a first order. So this is how it started. And of course, the turning point was one large order that we received from the Tamil Nadu government for manufacturing CRT televisions. So there was one big opportunity that we really had that to scale up. We really started painting a picture on a bigger canvas.
Soon, diversification into other products led to even greater success.
We were in the television business and we also got into other categories. So lighting was the first major category. And then of course we went into other categories like audio and other video products. But I think big shift happened when we first started manufacturing the mobile phones. That's when we decided that we really need to set up larger format factories, become globally competitive. And the big change that happened again was the IPO. That was in 2017, September. And I tried to meet a lot of the funds. The first reaction was manufacturing cannot happen in India, and especially electronic manufacturing. But I think we did a reasonably good job. We were oversubscribed by over 122 times. Fast forward to now, we've created such a scale that we cater to almost 30 to 40% of the total domestic market.
He has really contributed in making the industry grow from $21 billion to $125 billion. His contribution undoubtedly immense.
Today, with a revenue of 38,880 crore rupees for FY25 and 26 manufacturing facilities across India, Sunil Vachani is gearing up for an even bigger future.
The vision is that whenever someone thinks of outsourcing, they should think of Dixon.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Sunil Vachani. After studying in the US and working in a private equity firm, Veer S. Advani decided to come back to his family business, Blue Star.
I joined Blue Star and then I got a bug in Blue Star, but I want to start a new business. It failed. My father and uncle, they said, we think it's time that you come to the parent company. There's a lot happening in the air conditioning business. And so I decided to shut it down. We had to let go of 150 people. I decided that I would do it personally, one-on-one. And it was one of the most humbling experiences of my life.
Then, in 2010, he was tasked with turning around a business segment.
The MEP business, it was loss-making at that time, so I was asked to go and fix that. I spent 5 years. I got into excruciating detail to understand what had gone wrong, how it could be fixed. So we actually first shrunk the business, completed all our obligations, and then we started to grow the business in the right way.
Eventually, Veer S. Advani was placed at the helm of Blue Star.
My colleague Tyagarajan and I got an opportunity to run the company together starting in 2016. We came up with a master plan. We believed that there was going to be a boom in air conditioning and that Blue Star should really participate in this. And then COVID came. So the whole plan was shelved. Then we came out of COVID and now we've just been executing our plan since then. So we've gone from a 0 market share in residential up to now about 14%. We're number 3 right now. It's quite simple, just work hard and yeah, that's all I do.
He had immense faith. And the most recent is that we need an international footprint. That's a significant achievement, single-handedly driven by him.
Today, with a revenue of 12,000 crore rupees in the last financial year and a global presence in over 20 countries, Veer S. Advani has a clear vision for Blue Star's future.
We will build global competitiveness with building all the blocks ourselves. So that's our hope and our dream.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Veer S. Advani.
What truly amazing and inspiring stories. Together, these 9 finalists represent a revenue of almost 4 lakh crore rupees. Please give it up once more for all our wonderful finalists. Thank you. And now it is my absolute privilege to welcome on stage our chief guest this evening, the Honorable Minister for Commerce and Industry, Government of India, Shri Piyush Goyal. Sir, it's wonderful having you here. It's truly an honor. I'm going to request you to please grace the stage and say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Rajiv, for getting me back home again. It's really wonderful to be in Mumbai. Just the air of Mumbai gives you a new kick. And when I'm with all my family members, all the friends of Mumbai, it's even more exciting. A very good evening to all of you. Truly delighted to once again be a part of the EOY Entrepreneur of the Year program. I came here in 2018 at the Taj Lands End. Again in 2020. I think last year I addressed you virtually. I wanted to address you virtually again today, but I couldn't say no to my very dear friend and somebody who has truly served the nation very honorably. Rajiv Memani has, over the years, not only been a great friend and well-wisher, but somebody who spoke his mind, criticized us, criticized me personally, given me a lot of grief, but always for my good. And I really appreciate your friendship and will hope that you will continue to always be a part of my life. Thank you very much, Rajiv. A big congratulations to all the finalists, to all the winners of the Entrepreneur of the Year award. Each one of you truly deserves to be recognized. What you have achieved, many of you in a short period of time, is phenomenal. That is what defines New India. That is the future of India. And you are all role models who will, I'm sure, in the years to come, mentor and encourage many more entrepreneurs, many more startups as they move up in their journey to explore uncharted territories. I wonder if you noticed how the composition of the EOY Awards is changing over the years. Even until 8 or 9 years ago, you would usually have the traditional old age industry being recognized. You would have steel mill owners and cement plant owners. बड़े-बड़े घराने के लोगों को award मिलते थे. I'm not suggesting that EOY would check the billing to that company. But this is how India is evolving. This is how today our unicorns coming up with humble beginnings, exploring the unknown, innovating, and willing to take risk are changing the landscape of India. And that is what the future is going to be all about. I saw that in 3 or 4 cases we had startups. 3 cases we had high quality electronics components or electronic goods manufacturers. Finance or technology has an important role to play in our lives today. And very clearly, it is evident that youth power is becoming very relevant for India's growth story. I was seeing the executives of the companies talk about their company, their founders, and I could clearly see how important human capital and passion in the job was evident in the comments that we just heard. And that brings me to the subject of artificial intelligence, which is clearly very much in our minds. We've just concluded a very, very successful AI summit. Of course, the opposition doesn't seem to be able to celebrate anything that good that happens in India, so they decide to go topless. But I think in any case they've lost their shirt. The fact of life is today, India is becoming a very important player when it comes to technology, when it comes to talent and skill required to engage with technology at scale. And across the world, Indian talent is respected, is wanted, and is giving very, very profound results. Some people are worried about the impact of AI on jobs in the Indian economy. I, for one, am not at all worried. I can clearly see before my eyes how the nature of job may certainly change. Salary levels may also go up, which is good for the economy. But we are going to need more and more talent as India uses artificial intelligence for its own growth story, providing services to the rest of the world, expanding our exports and services, our talent serving across borders, because today there is no talent comparable to the Indian youth. The enthusiasm, the aspiration brings in results. And I'm very confident that our software companies, our startups, our innovation-based industries will come up to speed. I have no doubt in my mind that the more artificial intelligence self-perpetuates and comes up with more modern or faster models, better LLMs, better applications of AI, you'll start seeing cybersecurity threats. You'll start needing people to safeguard your interests. You'll start seeing bots feeding in garbage into databases. You'll need to scrub those databases. And end of the day, I don't know anybody in this room who's going to be willing to place a bet and use an AI-generated document, whatever it may be, including a speech, because you don't know what point of data would have messed it up. And you land up like Chatur of Three Idiots. So very clearly, the more we engage with technology, the more we are going to need human skills, human talent. New opportunities will open up. Our service sector, our software industry, our law firms, our professional firms are also evolving with the times. The nature of work will become more superior. Certainly, just like the Y2K moment, where India got a lot of opportunity when the world thought the sky is going to fall on their head. But after 1st January 2000, we never looked back. It was a journey upward all the way. I see AI at the cusp of a very, very powerful revolution for the better, for India, for Indian companies, for Indian businesses, for the 2.3 million STEM graduates that come out of college every year in India. New opportunities, upgraded opportunities, better profits, better assignments, greater exports. And that is why the AI Summit was very important for us. We have showcased to the world our talent. The world was amazed at what they experienced over the last week in Delhi. And I dare say, going forward, it's going to be a win-win for India, just like the 8 FTAs that we have finalized in the last 3.5 years. Each of them with developed countries. And 9 with the US also, 9 FTAs, 38 countries. All of them having high per capita incomes who don't compete with us, who are complementary to our requirements, who support the Indian economic growth story. These free trade agreements, ladies and gentlemen, are going to help us go global. They're going to help us take our merchandise, our services to developed nations who need these services, who need these goods, particularly the labor-intensive stuff, what our fishermen come out with, what our farmers produce. These are products that are needed in the world. And friends, when we look at these 38 geographies, effectively we have today 2/3 of the global trade covered by the free trade agreements that India has entered into. And collectively, we are now able to be a part of global value chains which will provide opportunities to India, Indian businesses, Indian youth. We are now a part of opportunities around the world for people mobility. We will be a part of innovation networks. We are strengthening our own ability to serve the world from India, to make in India for the world. And no country in the world, friends, has become a developed nation by keeping their borders closed. Only those countries who have innovated, only those countries who have engaged with the world, only those countries, as I heard the panel also discuss, who are willing to accept competition, bring efficiency, become more competitive. It is those countries who capture the world. It is those countries who can aspire, as Uday Bhai said, to become in the top 2 countries. That's the first time I heard that. We always used to talk about the top 3. But I'm delighted that you've set the benchmark even higher. We must aspire to be amongst the top 2 countries in the world. Of course, we want to do it in a democratic framework. We are not looking at emulating the Chinese story, Sajanji. Because we are human. Because we have a heart. Because we are not going to tell our residents of Palghar that we throw you out overnight because a bullet train has to come up over there. We'll do it the Indian way. We'll do it with love and affection. We will not tell all the residents of a city that you have to leave your city for a month of 15 days when the Olympics is going to be played in that city, just because we want to showcase or keep the security good or showcase a clean city. The Chinese story is not something India should ever look to emulate. The Chinese story can be good only if you are willing to learn from them efficiency, only if you are willing to learn from them scale. But we must progress our economy with a heart, and I think India has shown to the world and earned the trust of the world today, because India's growth story is inclusive, India's growth story is sustainable, India's growth story rests on value systems. As Prime Minister says, Vikas bhi, Virasat bhi. Our culture, our traditions, our family value systems, our rich heritage, that is what our power is derived from. And I have no doubt in my mind, India is poised for a very, very bright future. Our entrepreneurs will take this country to greater heights. Our startups, our job creators have changed the mindset of young India. Our young women, sisters, daughters, now powering the economy, joining the formal workforce, are going to play an increasingly important role as we go up the economic ladder. It is for no mean reason that every country in the world today wants to enter into a trade deal with India. Every country. If you see my last 3 days, I've had an engagement with Chile, who wants to conclude the FTA this week if possible. We are launching Canada, hopefully when the Prime Minister is here on Monday. We should be able to finalize the terms of reference and launch a Canada FTA. Was it yesterday or was it day before yesterday? Difficult to keep track, too many things happening. Probably yesterday, where we've launched negotiations with the 6-nation GCC group. We already have Oman and UAE, but now the rest, the other 4 don't want to be left behind. So we have launched, we'll now have an FTA with all 6 Middle Eastern countries, and we have 1 crore Indians who live and work in these 6 countries. I had a video conference with my counterpart from Eurasia, with whom we are actively engaged in an FTA conversation. I had a call with Mexico to see how we could have a trading arrangement with them. Unfortunately, because of their local situation, it's been deferred by a week. Only on Saturday, we had the President of Brazil, President Lula, and we've discussed expanding our preferential trade agreement with the 4-nation Mercosur grouping. I'm only saying all this to give you a flavor of what the world expects from us. They look up to India, India's decisive leadership, our demographic dividend, our youth power, our talent, our skill. They recognize the India of tomorrow as a country who will power world growth. And it is this journey in which each one of you is invited to participate. Let us together make the best out of all of these opportunities opening up for us, because ultimately we can only open the doors for you. It will be all our entrepreneurs, all our business persons, all of you in this room and beyond who will have to take this message to every single MSME in this country, to every farmer organization, to every farmer, to every fisherman, to every exporter, current or future, and encourage them not only to be competitive and efficient, as our panelists were guiding us, but also to grab the opportunities that await us across the world. It is you, ladies and gentlemen, who will have to ultimately take this country in the Amrit Kal to Viksit Bharat, a developed, a prosperous nation when we celebrate 100 years of independence in 2047. It'll have to be all of us collectively looking out for each other. If we have to be Atmanirbhar, if India has to be self-reliant, if our value chains have to be secure, resilient, we will have to support each other. And I don't mean that we don't import anything. I don't mean that we have everything to be made in India. There may be certain things that we'll still continue to import. But we have to cautiously and carefully ensure that our supply chains are safe. They won't get disrupted. These free trade agreements provide that framework which ensure resilience in our supply chains, which ensure free flow of goods. And I'm sure that all of us in this room collectively recognize that this is India's time. And I'm very, very confident that young India will not let this country down. Our entrepreneurs are winners of today. Those who may not have been recognized as entrepreneurs of the year this time around will certainly aspire to be here receiving the award next year or the year after. But this journey of growth will continue relentlessly, and each one of you will help us power this growth. My best wishes to all of you. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much, sir. That was insightful and powerful. Big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, and I request you to kindly stay on stage, sir. I would like to also invite on stage, back on stage, Mr. Rajiv Memani, and of course our jury chair, Mr. Sajjan Jindal, to the stage. Thank you all so much. We have these stalwarts here on stage as we begin our awards for the evening. We now come to the first award for this evening, and this one is the Special Jury Award. This year, the jury has decided to give a Special Jury Award to recognize a person who has made a profound impact, not just on a particular sector or a business, but on our entire nation. A person who has racked up achievement after achievement and also filled our hearts with pride. Ladies and gentlemen, the Special Jury Award. To do the citation, I'd like to request on stage Jury Chair Mr. Sajjan Jindal to please read the citation and announce the winner of the Special Jury Award.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A past EY Entrepreneur of the Year and World Entrepreneur of the Year winner and a past jury chair of this very prestigious program, Uday has shaped India's financial landscape with vision and integrity. He is the architect of one of India's foremost financial institutions, which is among India's largest private sector banks, an institution built through disciplined leadership and long-term thinking. He is not just a banker, but a trusted financial advisor and a sounding board to many in this room, and a very special friend to me, personally. When the country faced a crisis at a large NBFC, the Government of India entrusted him with the responsibility of leading its board. He stabilized the institution in an orderly fashion during a period of intense scrutiny with his calm and thoughtful diplomacy. In recognition of his exceptional contributions to India's economic and institutional strength, he was recently conferred the Padma Bhushan. Ladies and gentlemen, it's our privilege to honor Mr. Uday Kotak.
Congratulations, and before we invite Mr. Kotak up on stage, we have a short film paying tribute to his illustrious and fantastic career. Take a look.
Born into a cotton trading family, Uday Kotak did his MBA and chose to branch out into financial services.
So Kotak Mahindra really started with bill discounting. We started very small. Initially, we raised capital from friends and family. Anand Mahindra put in small amount of capital. There is no piece of paper between us, and it was just between two people who trusted each other.
Retaining a dual name strategy, Uday Kotak soon scaled the business.
Essentially, it was a statement by us that we are putting our name on the line. And in 1989, we started car finance. We then after went into investment banking, joint ventures with Goldman Sachs and Ford Credit, into an asset management business, into life insurance. And in 2003, we were the first non-bank finance company in Indian history to convert into a bank.
Under his leadership, Kotak Mahindra became a household name in the financial sector.
We started eyeing how we could grow faster in banking. So we saw an opportunity to acquire ING Vaishya Bank, and we merged ING Vaishya Bank into Kotak Mahindra Bank. The journey continued and we started a digital banking business. We've been able to create so much of employment for people. We have been able to create an institution.
Today, Kotak Mahindra is recognized as a financial services conglomerate with Kotak Mutual Fund, Kotak Mahindra Life Insurance, Kotak Mahindra General Insurance, Kotak Securities, and of course, Kotak Mahindra Bank. And Uday Kotak is much more than just a banker. He is an icon of Indian industry with a clear vision for his beloved India.
I am a believer in the India long-term story. I would love to see research, I would love to see innovation, and I'm very committed to doing my bit for building India and making our nation proud. We have to continue to enjoy the journey and never chase a destination.
Among his numerous achievements, he has won the EOY India Entrepreneur of the Year Award, the EOY World Entrepreneur of the Year Award. He has been made chairman of Gift City, and he has recently been conferred with India's Padma Bhushan. Ladies and gentlemen, the EOY Entrepreneur of the Year Special Jury Award winner, Padma Bhushan, Mr. Uday Kotak.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The winner of the EY Entrepreneur of the Year Special Jury Award, Padma Bhushan, Uday Kotak. Congratulations, Mr. Kotak, sir. We'd be truly honored if you could please say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Piyush, for receiving this award, and to Sajjan, the chairman of the jury, and of course, Rajiv and all the other jury members. Most of them, all of them probably familiar faces. As I mentioned earlier, there are 5 things I feel like sharing with this group today. First, let's all continue to be committed to the Indian adventure, to build India. And I genuinely feel our aspiration has to be the top 2, Piyush. And let's raise the bar. So that is one. Second, I do feel that the time has come for India to move from a pace which is evolutionary to a pace which is revolutionary. We have to move at great speed because time is against many other nations while India is still young. India has the opportunity now with this young generation to catch speed. The Chinese generation is now getting into an older age, and that's true for most of the other developed worlds. And therefore here, as a person who has seen the evolution of the Indian journey, let's be in a sense of hurry to make the India dream happen. And I'm very, very confident that we will break barriers despite all challenges. And I take this opportunity to congratulate all the winners here, and at heart, I'm always an entrepreneur and will be delighted to see Indian entrepreneurship flourish. Thank you very much, and thank you all.
Congratulations once again, sir, and thank you so much for your incredible contribution. Congratulations. I would request Shri Goyal, Mr. Jindal, and Mr. Memani to please continue to stay on stage for our awards. Now, before we move on, I would like to once again take a moment to thank our wonderful sponsors, our mobility sponsor, Mahindra Electric Automobile Limited, and of course, our celebration partner, Diageo Group. Thank you so much for your incredible support. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to end the weeks and months of suspense as we come up to the first category of this evening. This award honors individuals who reimagine and recreate the world we live in every day. They're the ones who disrupt, invent, and innovate, because the category is Startup. I'd like to invite jury member Ms. Shweta Jalan to kindly grace the stage and announce the winner.
Good evening, everyone. The winner of this category set out to bring order to a fragmented and opaque industry after spotting deep inefficiencies. Leveraging advanced technology, they built a system that seamlessly matches business demand with contractor supply, solving a long-standing problem of asset underutilization. Their profitable logistics as a service model has grown by 58% in 2025. And has increased profitability for millions of small and medium enterprises. Their cash-efficient and asset-light model earned them the status of the unicorn in 2025. Please join me in welcoming the startup duo Pranav Goyal and Uttam Diga of Porter.
Congratulations! Congratulations to Pranav and Uttam. What a wonderful win. Congratulations once again on this wonderful win, and thank you so much, Ms. Jalan, for so graciously reading out the citation and announcing the winner. The next category recognizes and rewards entrepreneurs who cracked the great Indian consumer. But who is the great Indian consumer? It's a person who will research a product for 6 weeks, wait for the sale, apply random coupons constantly, some who are outdated also, demand free installation, free delivery, free demo, and then a callback from senior management, and still feel like they left something on the table. Understanding this consumer is not a business skill, it is a spiritual practice, which is why we celebrate these entrepreneurs who somehow get it right through this wonderful category of awards, and the category is Consumer Product and Retail. I'd like to invite jury member Mr. Harsh Mariwala to please grace the stage and announce the winner. It's wonderful to see you, sir.
Good evening to all of you. It's my pleasure to announce the winner of Consumer Products and Retail segment. Scale, innovation, and resilience defines his journey of reshaping a legacy enterprise into a diversified growth engine. I've known his father, I've known his uncle, and he has come and transformed the company completely. First time I met him today only. Under his leadership, his company expanded from its roots as a commercial cooling specialist into the residential market to build a strong presence in room air conditioners and later expand into adjacent categories. Backed by sustained R&D investment, category-dominating products, and 7 manufacturing facilities across India, the company has driven strong organic growth, expanded internationally to 49 countries, and built a reputation for innovation, quality, and customer trust. Please welcome on stage our winner of EOY Consumer Products and Retail category, Veer S. Advani of Blue Star.
Congratulations! What a wonderful, well-deserved win for Mr. Advani. Congratulations, sir. I'm going to once again request Mr. Mariwala to please stay with us on stage to announce our next winner. The next award honors entrepreneurs who have been pillars of Indian economy and have always been responsible for our nation's self-reliance. The category is manufacturing.
So, over 3 decades ago, the winner began with a focused industrial venture and steadily expanded into a broader integrated manufacturing ecosystem. As India's demand for engineering solutions increased, he moved up the value chain by building domestic capability and inorganic expansion in his product portfolio, thereby becoming a trusted partner for leading consumer and industrial brands. What stands out is not just growth, but foresight in building the infrastructure behind everyday comfort and mobility while staying firmly grounded in operational excellence. Measured and practical, this Make in India champion is shaping India's manufacturing backbone. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating Jasbir Singh of Amber Enterprises.
Congratulations. Graciously reading out these citations. Congratulations once again. Ladies and gentlemen, before we proceed to the next award, I would also like to let you know that after this event, we have a fantastic cognac and chocolate soiree in the cocktail area outside. So please do stay back for that. And now, back to the main event, where we move to a category of entrepreneurs who provide their customer with something intangible, yet valuable, a service that impacts our lives. Yes, you've guessed it right. The category is services. May I request and invite jury member Mr. Nilesh Gupta to the stage to read the citation and announce the winner.
Bad times do not scare the brave. When banks globally were falling like 9 pins during the global financial crisis of 2008, this first generation entrepreneur found an opportunity in providing wealth management services to India's growing population. Through several bold acquisitions, he grew and went on to serve leading Indian and global clients, and has emerged as one of the country's top wealth and alternative asset management firm. A round of applause for the winner of the EOY Services Award, Karan Bhagat of 361 Wealth Asset Management.
And thank you so much, sir, for so graciously reading out that citation. And now moving on, in life, the great thing about India is that India has absolutely no shortage of medical opinion. First, we have the internet, then there is the neighbor, and then, of course, most powerfully, the uncle on the family WhatsApp group who always says, nahi, 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 ye kuch nahi hai, main batata hu. Who has single-handedly diagnosed 16 people this month alone and not lost a moment's sleep about it. But then there are our leaders who went the other way entirely. They planned to build laboratories instead of opinions, developed molecules instead of theories, and are rewriting what medicine can do for humanity, one breakthrough at a time. So tonight, we celebrate the ones who actually did the work. And by the way, that uncle tonight will not be receiving the award because the category is Life Sciences and Healthcare. I request our jury member, Mr. Nilesh Gupta, to read the citation and announce the winner.
Dilip, the recommendation was to get you back on stage, but this entrepreneur created a strong moat by steadily deepening capabilities in high-value and complex molecules, creating fully integrated end-to-end CRDMO services for global clients. Through better capacity utilization and improved operation efficiencies, he has delivered sustained profitability and industry-leading EBITDA margins. A chemical engineer from IIT Delhi, he steered his company to a successful IPO in 2025, which was oversubscribed 63 times, and is now leading the company's push towards digital transformation. Please join me in welcoming our winner, Ajay Bhardwaj of Anthem Biosciences.
With that, we now proceed to our next award. Our next award is a tribute to the turnaround men and women, the people who transform businesses, often launching them into an even higher orbit. The category is business transformation. And I'd like to request our jury member, Mr. Saurabh Agarwal, to read the citation and announce the winner. Thank you so much, Mr. Agarwal.
This is very much a sector which Rajiv refers to as the next phase of growth for India. The second generation entrepreneur has not merely grown a business, he has transformed India's manufacturing landscape. By aligning with Make in India, investing deeply in R&D and design, and forging global partnerships, he has built the backbone behind manufacturing of some of the world's leading smartphone and consumer electronics brands. His journey is reflected in 5-year-old revenue growth in just 4 years. But beyond numbers, he has transformed India's modern electronics manufacturing ecosystem and is inspiring an entire generation of entrepreneurs to scale with excellence. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for Mr. Sunil Vachani of Dixon Technologies.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, being an entrepreneurial CEO is a truly difficult job. You're expected to be a visionary on Monday, operational on Tuesday, and inspirational every single day in between. So with that, may I invite jury member Mr. Ravi Lamba to please grace the stage and announce the winner in this category. Thank you, Mr. Lamba.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So, in 2013, the winner of this award returned to an industry that was entering one of its most defining phases. You heard him on the video. Amid rapid disruption, intense competition, he chose disciplined execution and guided the business with clarity and resilience. Respected globally for his vision, he also serves on the boards of international telecom companies, carrying the story of Indian telecom innovation to the world. 13 years as MD and CEO, and now as Vice Chairman, he is shaping the group strategy and future-proofing his organization, which has stood the test of time. Today, as intelligent systems and AI work silently to protect conversations and filter unwanted noise, his legacy feels fitting. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to ask you please to join me in a round of big applause for Gopal Vittal of Bharti Airtel.
Energy and infrastructure are really vast topics, and I don't know much about them, but real estate, that we all know or have heard about. In India, three things are discussed with equal passion: cricket, politics, and then real estate. And somehow everyone has an opinion on where to buy, what's coming up, where the airport's going to be, what to pay, and why you should have bought or purchased something 10 years ago when it was cheaper. That's the classic story. With that, I request our jury member, Mr. Dilip Sangvi, to kindly grace the stage to read the citation and announce the winner in this very vast category.
This second generation entrepreneur succeeded his father and led the group's transformation into one of the industry's foremost players. He expanded from a single city, single market segment into a diversified real estate company spanning mid-income housing, new city developments, large commercial estates across India. While doing so, He strengthened annuity business across offices, retail, warehousing, and property management, scaling revenues more than 60-fold from 236 crore in 2010 to over 13,000 crore in FY25. He is now charting bold growth across new markets and future growth sectors, including making an ambitious entry into data centers. Please put your hands together for the winner, Abhishek Lodha of the Lodha Group.
And congratulations, sir. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the big one, the award we have all been waiting for. The entrepreneur who stands in a league apart, who will be honored with the highest award of the evening and will also represent India at the EY World Entrepreneur of the Year Awards to be held in Monte Carlo in June this year. So hold on to your breath, but not to your applause, as we reveal the winner of the EY Entrepreneur of the Year 2025. And to put us all out of our suspense, I would like to request our jury chair, Mr. Sajjan Jindal, to read the citation and announce the winner of the EY Entrepreneur of the Year Award 2025.
So, our winner tonight saw an unfinished system waiting to be built. What began as a simple idea of discovery grew into infrastructure of modern Bharat, weaving a fabric of unity that connects an entire ecosystem of partners and millions of customers. He helped transform how a nation finds food, orders groceries, and reimagines everyday conveniences. Through shifting market dynamics and hard questions, he kept building for the long term, kept recalibrating, and led the transition of a homegrown startup into a Nifty 50 index. And now, with his sights on aviation, health, and beyond, one thing seems clear. The meal was never really the point. Shehar badle, roles badle, par hunger wahi rahi. For him, it is always about the distance between a problem and its solution. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the EOY Entrepreneur of the Year 2025, Dipinder Goyal.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Dipinder Goyal. Unfortunately, due to a medical emergency in the family, Mr. Dipinder Goyal could not travel and be with us in person for the ceremony, but we do have him joining us live on screen, so we're going to try to connect that. There you are. Congratulations, Mr. Goyal, on this glorious, well-deserved win. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Request you to please say a few words, sir.
I would just say thank you so much. It's been an honor. And we have a lot of decades worth of work yet to go. And I hope we continue to make you all proud.
What a wonderful one. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, our EY Entrepreneur of the Year 2025, Mr. Dipinder Goyal. Congratulations once again, and thank you for all the incredible work you do. Thank you. And with that, sir, request to please remain on stage, because for the finale, I'm going to request all our winners, all our distinguished jury members to please come back up on stage for our celebratory toast. So let's have you all up on stage, please. Thank you. It'll be a fantastic way to have you all on stage together. What a photo op that would be. So I'm inviting you all back on stage, please, all the winners, and of course the jury members. Year India. Let's all our glorious winners. We're going to invite, try to have a toast on stage. So request you all to stay back for just a second. I think we have a small toast on stage that has been arranged. Just a minute. Please, request our winners and jury members to stay back for just a toast. So if you stepped off stage, let's have you back on stage. Jury members, winners, don't run off. And as they celebrate this wonderful toast together on stage, and before we bring the fabulous event to a close, I must remind you all, ladies and gentlemen, that the highlights of this event will be broadcast on CNBC TV 18 on the 12th of March, 7:30 p.m. That's right, CNBC TV 18, 12th of March at 7:30 p.m. So get your friends and family to watch this wonderful, glorious show on the 12th of March at 7:30 p.m. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank a few people and organizations without whom this event would not have been possible. I'd like to thank Adi Pocha and the wonderful team at Squircle Productions, Hyperlink Brand Solutions, CNBC TV 18, Geo World Convention Center, our mobility sponsor, Mahindra Electric Automobile Limited, our celebration partner, Johnny Walker Lux Blended Water, for all the support they have given to make this event a wonderful, grand success. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, it brings us to the end of this evening. We'd invite you to make your way to the cocktail area for our celebratory chocolate soiree. Thank you for being such a gracious audience, and a big, big congratulations to all our super achievers. Thank you. We'll see you next year. Have a great evening. Drive safe. Thank you. Request you all, they want a photo op, so if you could all just, come a little closer. Thank you.